Hello, everybody. A very, very warm welcome to this session on inference and assumptions, two very, very important skills on the GMAT CR. And this is GMAT Whiz bringing you this session. Hope all of you enjoy this. So, guys, would love to hear back a hello from your end. This is Sunita, your host for this evening. So, let's get started quickly. And while we are at it, just let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear. And I'm just going to quickly put this into perspective here. Yeah, great. So that's what we're going to do today. I'll set the agenda right away. And while you're telling me about yourselves, who you are and where you're watching this from, at what stage of preparation you are, let me quickly introduce myself and what we are going to do today. So just give me a moment. Yep. So my name is Sunita and I am the verbal head at GMAT Whiz. I've mentored thousands of students. I scored the 99 percentile in the verbal section. And I love teaching. I love mentoring students, interacting with them, listening to the problems and finding simple solutions to their difficult problems. Okay, here's the agenda of today. And although the agenda sounds simple, you will realize as we wear into the session that it is really something that we don't do. Although it's a very simple thing, we most of the time when we are solving CR questions, we don't do these things. What are those things? So three very powerful strategies that's going to help you solve CR with more efficiency and accuracy. The first is how to draw inferences while reading the stimulus. Now, drawing inference is important not just for solving inference-based questions, but also to solve the other CR questions. If you do not infer properly when you're reading the stimulus, even on a, say, strengthened question or a weakened question, you will not be able to eliminate choices easily. Okay, you will always find yourself stuck between two choices. So we're going to talk about how to draw inferences as you read the stimulus. Okay, the next most important will be how to spot the assumptions while reading the stimulus. All right, this is a very important strategy. And finally, we're going to talk about solve the inference and assumption questions. All right, so let's see. The first strategy is going to how to analyze the stimulus correctly in order to draw inferences correctly. All right, so that's going to be our first powerful strategy. And let me see who all have joined us. Okay, so hi Ashwin, Tanveer. Thank you, Tanveer, for that loud and clear. Venkatesh, that's Sulochana, all right. Jaideep, hello. Good to see all of you guys. And let's get started straight away. So, as I was saying, that a lot of us think that we need to draw inferences only on an inference question, but that's not the correct way of thinking. Definitely, you need to draw an inference when the question stem is asking you to draw an inference. But apart from that as well, you need to draw inferences as you read along. How to do that correctly? Let's look at this question and find out for ourselves. So I'm going to share the question with you guys. Here's the question, and I want you to take a shot at this. It's not a difficult question at all, and it's not meant to be a difficult question. The idea is to train you to draw that inference. So for all of you who feel you miss certain ideas or facts or points while you're reading the stimulus, this is going to be very helpful, super helpful. So I'm just going to stop my camera and mute myself while you give this a shot. One small request, guys. One small request. I'll tell you when to post your answers so that everybody gets a very unbiased shot at this question. All right. And I'll just mute myself in the meantime. So Venkatesh says, I'm liking CR, but at the same time, it's keeping my mind like in the wind. Venkatesh, CR is really fun if you really know what to do with it. It's actually just common sense. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But get set, guys. I'll tell you when to post the answers. Just hold on till then. So you have approximately 2 minutes to solve this question. Get started, guys. For those of you who've just joined, we are looking at how to draw inferences accurately, efficiently. All right, solve this question and I'm going to show you how. Vishwajit, this will be recorded and you can definitely watch it later, but no issues at all. All right, guys, those of you who are done, you can start posting your answers. I already have a couple of answers here. Thank you, Bhavani and Avinash. I can see a lot more of you out there, guys. Let's look at your answers. Don't be afraid to share. And I'm going to show you how very simple drawing inferences is. This is not really a particularly difficult question. However, I can see that the answers are very diverse. So I've got Bhavani saying C, Avinash, C, Sumit, C, Pallavi, E, Rishabh, C, Tanveer, A, then Naveen C, Jaydeep D, Farzane A. My God. So A, C seem to be in the race with one or two D and E as well. Divya C, Niyati A. All right. Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to show you now. I've been talking about this a lot. So let me really show you what to do with this. Please, guys, a quick request here. Hold on to your queries for, while I'm discussing this. And once I finish the discussion, if your queries are not solved, I'm definitely going to wait for your questions at that time. I'm going to give you a chance to ask questions. So let me get started, guys, okay? I hope I have all your attention now. So here goes. Now, I am going to show you how this stimulus should be analyzed such that you don't miss anything, okay? Here goes. Now, the first thing at GMAT Whiz that we do is we don't read the entire sentence in one quick shot. That way, you really don't get to focus on every bit of the information there. All right. So, we always make sure that we break our sentences and read. All right. So, this is what I'm going to do. So, I'm going to first read from here till here, probably. So for large farms to be as productive as they can be, I'm going to stop there and think, okay, what does as productive as they can be mean? Oh, okay. So for large farms to achieve their maximum productive capacity, all right, what then? Their owners need to invest heavily in expensive machinery. Now, if you simplify that in your language, it means in order to achieve maximum production, a lot of money has to be invested in machinery. Now, this is the simplification of the first sentence, correct? But you can do a little bit more. You can actually draw an inference from this one statement as well. For example, you can infer productivity cannot be maximized without that expensive machinery. How can I infer this? Look at this. Need to invest. Need to invest means it is a necessary condition or requirement. And if that means from that, I can infer that you cannot really achieve that maximum productivity if you do not invest in that expensive machinery. So see, what is this first step? I break and read the sentence. Step 2, I simplify it in my own words. Step 3, this is if you can do, you try to draw whatever inference, whatever reading you can behind the scenes. All right? Okay. This typically requires, now I have another requirement, another necessary condition, and this is going to definitely refer to the data in the first sentence. So what is this saying? This is saying that all this investing in heavily investing in expensive machinery is going to require these farmers to go into a lot of debt. Okay, so I'm going to stop there and I'm going to kind of say, okay, so for expensive machinery, huge loans have to be taken. And from this, I can again draw an inference. I can say, okay, if they need to take the loan, it means they can't buy that machinery from their own pockets. All right, great. So that means in order to achieve maximum production, they have to take huge loans. This is A is to B and B is to C. So A is to C. That means in order to achieve maximum production, huge loans have to be taken. Got this? See how I'm drawing the inference? Okay, let's continue. So this typically requires them to go into considerable debt, and interest on this debt is then a significant fixed cost. All right, so again, simplifying that, huge loans means burden of high fixed cost. In other words, if large farm owners want to achieve maximum productivity, they have to bear the burden of the high fixed cost. How did I draw this? So then this is C is to D, which means A is to D, isn't it? This is your A and this is your D, isn't it? Okay. All right, great. So we read the first two sentences and look, we've got three inferences already. Let's see. This high fixed cost makes, so which high fixed cost? Okay, the high fixed cost caused by the addition of that interest on the debt. Okay, that high fixed cost makes those farmers vulnerable. Now in CR language, what does vulnerable mean? It means it makes those farmers open to, or it puts those farmers at a risk. Risk of what? Operating losses. Now, never mind if you don't know the meaning of operating losses, guys. Don't let that hold you up from solving this question successfully. You do know what are losses, right? So no need to overthink here. What we are saying is an increase in the fixed cost is going to open those farmers up to facing losses if the prices of their products drop. Okay, great. I'm going to simplify that. If price of farm products drop, so this is my E, farmers can face operating losses because of the high fixed cost. So this is my F, which means now I should be able to draw this inference, correct? Let me see, what does that mean? If large farm owners want to achieve maximum productivity, A, they have to risk facing operating losses. See? So guys, let me know if this process is clear to all of you. Let me know if this process is clear, guys. If it is, say a big thumbs up, a yes. Yes, it's all clear. Sunita, yes, we are all clear about how you reached that inference. Go ahead, guys. Give me a vote of confidence so that I feel that I've reached out to you. Neha, I'm so sorry about the logo blocking that thing. I'll kind of fix that in the later questions. Thank you, Vishwajit. Thank you, Bhavani. Because this is so simple, guys. Every time you read your stimulus, all you need to do is join the pieces together. And this is something that we don't do. We don't correlate what we read. We just read the information in isolation and that's it. And therefore, we lose out on that. Yes, Jaydeep, interest on debt, they are saying is a fixed cost, and not just a fixed cost, it's a significant fixed cost. Thank you, guys. Thank you, all of you. All right, so let me now show you how, by reading them in this manner, you can eliminate choices successfully. Okay? Thank you so much, guys, all of you, for that strong vote of confidence. So let me get started with the elimination. I think some of you were saying the logo is blocking this. So let me see if I can fix that. Give me a moment, guys. Just give me a moment if I can fix that. For the logo thing to, I don't think the logo thing, I can fix it up right off the bat. Let me see if I can do that for this particular one here. Maybe I can shift this a little bit. Okay, just let me see if I can. Uh-oh, I don't think I can shift this. Just give me a moment, I think I'm trying to shift things around so that you can see the whole thing and not be impeded by the logo. I hope I can do it properly. Yeah, guys, here it is. So I hope you can see the question fully now. Let me just quickly. Yeah. Okay, I think this kind of makes the EA right on. So, as I was saying, to those of you who've joined later, we were trying to understand how to draw inferences as we move along. So, what we have inferred from this paragraph is productivity cannot be maximized without investing in heavy machinery, expensive machinery. Farmers have to take loans for that, and if they take loans, their fixed cost goes up, and if fixed cost goes up, sometimes they might face operating losses if the price of the farm products drops. With that understanding, let's move to answer choice elimination. Now, before you eliminate a choice, always understand the meaning of the choice. The information above supports, so this information supports which of the following? So the stimulus is supposed to support the answer choice, which means it's an inference question. And we are supposed to draw inferences about large farms. So here they stands for large farms. So we're saying large farms can be means we are not saying they will be, and such words really matter a lot. Okay. So can be means there is a possibility that these large farms can become highly productive. I'm going to stop here and think, okay, with the information given in the passage, can I infer that the farms can turn highly productive? And I'm thinking, yes, if the farmers invest in the machinery, then definitely there is a possibility that the farms can turn highly productive. So I'm okay about this part without being profitable. All right. So is it possible that although these farms become productive, highly productive, they don't make a profit? Well, where were we talking about losses? Okay, we were talking about a scenario that if the prices drop, there might be some losses. All right. So which means even if the farms become highly productive, there might be no profit. Okay. So I'm like, okay with this. Farms can be highly productive. Yes. At the same time, can the farms not be profitable? Yes, if the price drops, they may not be profitable. So A definitely is an inference. Now, here I'm marking it as correct, but in the exam, if I were solving it, I would put it on hold. I will never mark an answer as correct without properly eliminating all the other choices. Okay, so here I go. They can be so highly productive. All right, let me hold on to that. From the passage, can I infer that the farms can be like so highly productive that they drive down market prices? The passage talks about if the prices of the products drop, but what is going to lead to that product price drop is not given in the passage. This connection is not made, and therefore this choice is might be true because a lot of productivity means a lot of production means increase in supply could drive down the market price, but we cannot infer that from the given data. So B, although it's a might be true, might not be true, it's definitely not an inference. We cannot be sure of this cause of price drop. So B is definitely out for me, and it's out for good. C, a lot of you marked C, guys. Look at what it is saying. Now, one thing before we move ahead, whenever you have an if clause in the answer choice, this is supposed to be extra premise. Always remember this. The if clause presents additional premise. So, when you are considering C, you have to consider this plus this. Will it lead you to conclude this? Okay. So let's say the passage tells you that the interest is a significant fixed cost and that makes them open to losses. Now this choice is saying, okay, if I give you more information that these owners are borrowing at low interest rate, then can these large farms become consistently profitable? Tend to be. Tend means tendency. It comes from tendency, and tendency means generally, typically. All right. Can I say that if the farmers borrow at low interest rate, they will generally become consistently profitable? Definitely not. Okay, the passage does not indicate consistently profitable. And of course, please remember the interest is a significant fixed cost. The passage doesn't tell us that it is significant because it is at a high rate. So whether the high rate is a problem or not, we don't know. Then how do we suggest a solution by saying, okay, let's borrow at low interest rates? So C is out for good. It is not within the scope of our discussion because the scope does not include interest rates. The C is out. D, they respond to operating losses by increasing their productivity. Mind it, they were trying to be productive, and by trying to be productive, they opened themselves up to operating losses. What they will do after facing those operating losses is not within the purview of the paragraph. In fact, highly unlikely that they are going to again try to increase their productivity and again invest more money. So D is out for good. E, they cannot be profitable. Now look at this language. Cannot means like never, 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 never. Okay. If their owners depend on credit, it's like saying if you take a loan, you are never going to be profitable. But mind it, we were told that the one of the scenarios when you may not make a profit is if the prices drop. But if the prices don't drop, can they become profitable? Perhaps yes. So I cannot say they cannot become profitable. Cannot is too extreme. Hyperbolic choice, as we call it at GMAT Whiz, and therefore E is out. The correct answer, therefore, guys, is A. Now, I'm ready for your questions, guys. If you have any questions, guys. So, Jaydeep, A is saying there can be. So, there is a possibility there. And we are not saying it can be highly productive without being profitable only if the prices drop. But definitely, there is one scenario here. So, Jaydeep, interest rate low does not mean the interest amount will also be low. Remember, they are taking a huge debt, considerable debt. Maybe the debt amount is so big that the interest, whatever be the rate, is a high amount. Okay. So, guys, do let me know if all of this is clear to you. Do let me know if it's clear so that we can move to the next question. I promise you it's a bumper question. You'll love it. Do let me know, guys, if this question is clear to you. Absolutely crystal clear. So a lot of you marked C as the correct answer. I hope you know why it was wrong, why it was incorrect. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Okay, let's get started with the next question of the evening. Here it is. I'm going to mute myself while you give this a shot. Okay. For those of you who've joined us late, we just solved the question where we learned how to draw inferences accurately as we read a stimulus. All right. This is another question that we're going to do on drawing inferences and then move to how to draw or how to spot an assumption. Okay. Pallavi, no, don't generalize that cannot is always wrong. Don't do that. Okay. Based on the context, you should always verify or evaluate your answer choice in the in the context of the given information. So do not say that cannot is always wrong. Maybe it's correct given the data. All right. Okay, guys, thank you for your answers, and let's quickly look at some of the answers here. So Ankit says E, Kaveri says C, Ayush E. Okay, Kaveri also says E, Niyati says it's D, Siddharth E, Arindam D, Farzane B. So B, C, D, E. Okay, lots of options. Almost all options. I'm waiting for some more answers, guys. A lot of you are out there. So would love to hear back from your end. Jaideep says A. Muhammad Zaid Alam says B. Okay. So A, B. Do we have a C as well? No. Yeah, we do. So A, B. No, we don't. A, B, and D, E. Most of you have gone in for E, and I think most of you have gone for E. Okay, great. Great. Gulfisha says C or E. Tanvir says E. So, guys, again, I'll request all of you to listen very carefully as I deep dive into this. All right, very interesting question, and you will see what you missed. Okay, so let me get started. Uh, for a trade embargo. Now, let's say if you don't know what's an embargo, what to do in that case, you wait to read further. Maybe something else in the paragraph is going to give you information, all right? And if you do know, trade embargo is like a trade restriction, okay? Trade embargo means a trade ban. I'm just going to call it a ban, shorter to write. So for a trade ban against a particular country to succeed, a high degree of, that means a lot of, both, so two things, international accord. Now what is accord? International accord is agreement. So we need a high degree of international agreement. And what is the other thing? Ability to prevent goods from entering or leaving that country must be sustained. So two things must be sustained. The must be sustained tells us there are two necessary conditions. Okay, so what are those two conditions? High degree of international agreement. Who needs to agree internationally? What basically we're saying is a huge number of countries must agree, must be in agreement, in consensus. Okay. Condition two, there should be an ability to prevent goods from moving in or out, which means international trade for that country must totally be stopped. Okay. So simplifying this, that we've got two necessary conditions that are necessary for the success of this thing called embargo. Now, if you don't know what's an embargo, when you read this bit, when you read this portion, you realize that it's a trade restriction because you're talking about goods entering or leaving that country. That should be prevented. So embargo is a trade restriction, can be inferred from this piece of information in case you don't know the meaning of that. Let's read on. A total blockade of Patria's ports is necessary to an embargo. And I'm thinking, okay, here we go. There is another condition here, a third condition, because we are saying necessary. But in this case, it seems to be valid only for a place called Patria. So Patria's case, there's a third condition, block Patria's ports completely. And I'm thinking to myself, probably to prevent the movement of the goods in and out. Okay, that means what I can understand here is, okay, that there are three conditions. If I want to put an embargo against Patria, I must fulfill this, this, and this. Three conditions to be fulfilled against Patria. And they are necessary conditions if I want that embargo to be successful. Okay, great. Let's read on. So a total blockade is necessary to an embargo, but, so there is a shift in thought here. Such an action, which action? Blocking Patria's ports, would be likely, that means there's this chances to cause international discord. What is discord? Okay, discord is disagreement. So there will be lack of this high degree of agreement because there would be a discord. So I'm thinking, all right, one of these conditions, that is block Patria's ports prevention of goods, if met, is likely to make the other condition fail. Which condition? This condition. So this condition and this condition will not happen together, right? And if the third condition breaks the first condition, what will happen, guys? Can you tell me what will happen? Come on, in the chat box. What is going to happen? If condition 3 is, if people try to achieve the third condition, condition 1 fails. In that case, what is going to happen, guys? Come on, tell me. Forget about the options. What is going to happen if condition 3 breaks condition 1? Jaideep, in the context of the passage, for any country, you need both the first two conditions, and for Patria, you also need the third condition. Very good, Himanshu. Others, what is going to happen if condition 3 breaks condition 1? If there is a discord, then what is going to happen? I'm waiting for your response, guys. Good. So, Himanshu, Muhammad Jaid Alam, Siddharth, Jaideep, okay, all of you agree that then the embargo won't happen. All right, because you need all the three conditions. There are three necessary conditions here, and if one of the conditions is not met, the embargo won't be possible. So once you have read your paragraph like this, it becomes very, very easy to eliminate choices, guys. This is a 95% hard question. So inferences, trade embargo in Patria may not be successful. Okay, let's move to our answer choices. The balance of opinion. Now, when you say balance of opinion, okay, balance of anything is about the plus and the minus. Okay, so let's say plus would be the agreement countries, because remember there is a discord. Discord means some will agree and some will disagree, right? So the balance will be in whose favor? Will it favor Patria or not? We cannot tell because we don't know how many countries are going to agree, how many countries are going to disagree. We don't know. Therefore, saying that overall opinion is going to be in whose favor is definitely not something that we can derive. Hardly anybody marked A, so I'm not going to go into this deeper. Let's move to B. As long as, what is the implication of as long as, guys? Grammar. What is as long as? What does as long as mean? Tell me. If I say as long as you don't eat sugar, you will lose weight. What is as long as? The word as long as in English means what? No, as long as is not a necessary condition. No, what does as long as mean? Again, I'm telling you, if I say as long as you don't eat sugar, you will lose weight. What does it mean? Okay, I'm going to write this sentence here. Wait, maybe that will be easier. See, if I say as long as you eat less sugar, you will lose weight. Yes, what does it mean as long as? No, good, right. If it means it's a sufficient condition, it's not a necessary condition. Okay, as long as international opinion is completely against Patria, a trade embargo is likely to be successful. Remember, we have three necessary conditions, and this choice is saying that we just need one condition to make that trade embargo likely to succeed. So this is not an inference, because from the necessary condition, you're converting it into a sufficient condition, guys, and that won't work. So let me just leave this out. Okay. Yeah. So both conditions are necessary for an embargo. Here, nothing is said about the second condition. It's just saying as long as you do this, the other thing will happen. But that's not true. So therefore, B is also out of scope. Okay. So a lot of you marked B as the correct answer. B is not correct because it turns a necessary condition into a sufficient condition. As long as means to say that, the only thing required. Okay. Or you're saying in other ways, in another way, let me simplify this. You're saying that a trade embargo is likely to succeed with just this thing happening. But we know that it will need more than that. Okay, so B is incorrect. Let's move to C. A naval blockade. Now, first of all, the passage talks about a total blockade, but just because it is ports, you have assumed that naval blockade will ensure that no goods leave. I mean, how am I to know a naval blockade, a military blockade, a civilian blockade, a God knows what blockade? I don't know. And maybe there is some air route, there's some land route, and even if I block the ports of Patria, that there might be still ways of for the goods to enter or leave. So I don't know if the naval blockade is going to really help. So this is also out. Okay, we do not know for sure if C is the only way in which goods enter Patria. Goods could enter the country through other routes as well. This choice does not guarantee the fulfillment of even single condition, and therefore it is out of scope. The correct answer is D, guys. Any trade embargo against Patria would be likely to fail. Remember, this is the inference we drew through our a proper process of reading. Trade embargo in Patria is likely to fail. So D is the correct answer. Such a simple, answer when you look at it. E, and a lot of you marked E, guys. Why? For a blockade of Patria's ports to be successful, for this, okay, for the blockade, is there any condition given? Is there any condition given for this to happen? No. This itself is a condition for the embargo to happen, but for the blockade to happen, there is no other condition. So E is totally out, and unanimous is a distortion of high degree. A high degree means even a majority will do, all right? So unanimous means all. So this is a distortion, guys, and remember, no condition given for blockade. Therefore, E is out. E is not referring to any condition, guys. Remember, look at the difference. I don't think you guys read E properly. Okay? E is saying for the blockade, you need a condition. We don't need a condition for the blockade. We need a condition for the embargo. Do let me know if you have understood this, guys. We're going to move to our assumptions. Let me know if this is clear. Now, I'm going to share with you something that you can really, really use. I'm going to share the link to the free trial version of our course in case you are interested in taking a sneak peek at the course, guys. There's the link to the free trial on the screens now. If you are interested in taking a peek at the trial version of our course to see how this methodology is carried out, this methodology in action, you have the link there on the screens right now in front of you. And I'm also going to share another link with you. If you are at a stage where you don't know how to take your preparation forward, or if you find that your scores have plateaued at a particular score and not budging from there, or if you are simply at a loss as to what you're doing wrong, you don't know, you've tried everything, here's a link to connect with our experts over a free call, which you can book at the link I'm just going to share with you. Let me just copy that link and share it with you in a moment. Okay, so there's the link to book that call with our strategy experts, the calendly.com. And just to um, just show you that whatever I've been saying so far isn't just all story and that it is very achievable, very doable, I'm going to share with you the link to the interview of one of our students who scored a 750 in a very short span of time, guys. And in his words, he'll tell you what he did to achieve this. So I'm just going to post that link as well. If you're interested, you can take a look at that. So there's a link to go through Tushar Mittal's interview on YouTube. He scored a 750 with a whopping score in verbal. Okay, guys, so let's get started with our assumptions. So, Jaydeep, E is not referring to any condition. E is talking about the first condition, unanimous, but required for the wrong thing. All right. E is saying you need a condition for the blockade. See, you need international agreement for the embargo. E is saying you need international agreement for the blockade. That's the difference. All right, guys. So I'm going to share with you the next question and let me hide. Okay, let's get started. Here comes the next question. Now, the next is how to analyze the stimulus correctly in order to spot assumptions correctly. Okay, we earlier we were looking at how to analyze the stimulus correctly in order to spot the inference correctly. Here we're going to talk about how to analyze the stimulus correctly in order to spot the assumptions correctly. Here's the question for all of you guys. I'm going to mute myself while you give this your best shot. All right, guys. So let's look at your answer options. I've got a few, not too many. So I'm going to wait for some more of you to answer. I know the stimulus is lengthy and the answer choices are also long sentences. All right, so let me look at some of these answers. Siddharth says B, Arindam says E, Venkatesh says E, Muhammad Jed Alam says D, Tanvir says E, Gulfisha says A. Okay. Can I have some more answers, guys? Thanks. So Jedi believes it's B, Sumit believes it's E. All right, guys. So again, remember, the purpose of this question is to see how we can spot the gaps, okay, what you call the assumptions. To read in such a manner that the gaps kind of leap out at you almost, automatically. All right. So let me see some more answers I've got there. Imanshu says A. All right. Let me get started with my reading. So here goes. Researchers have found something. All right. What have they found? That when very overweight people, so we're talking about very fat people, and we are told that these fat people, they have a tendency to have low metabolic rates. Relatively low metabolic rates would mean that relative to the people who are not very overweight. Okay, so the not very overweight people do not have as low metabolic rates as these very overweight people have. So we are saying researchers have found that when very fat people lose weight, and mostly through dieting, their metabolism remain unchanged. Okay, so if we simplify, what we have here is very fat people have low MR. MR is metabolic rates. When they lose weight through dieting, their MR kind of remains the same. Okay, they will thus means because they have this low metabolic rate which remains unchanged, they will thus burn a lot less calories. Now forgive the less because calories is countable and I should be saying fewer. So they will burn a lot fewer calories at the new weight than do people whose weight is normally at that level. What does that mean? It means that at the new weight, they are going to spend fewer calories than people normally at that weight do. Now, you could simplify this further in your mind. So, let's say I was 100 kilos, okay, very overweight. And then I dieted and I became 60 kilos. All right. So, this is my new weight. So, at this weight, I am going to burn a lot less calories. I'm going to use the word less, it's easier to talk. And through all this, my metabolism remains unchanged. Okay? This is what this sentence means. Now, I have this tendency, if I'm talking about burning a lot less calories, immediately my mind will think the opposite of burning. So if they burn a lot less calories, how many do they eat? I'm thinking this as I go along, as I read along. But let me continue. Such newly thin persons will therefore, not the therefore is a confusion figure here, ultimately regain weight until the body size again matches their metabolic rate. So if their metabolic rate was X at 100 kilos, they will again become 100 kilos, okay, to match that metabolic rate. So all I'm saying in simple language is people who have lost weight will again put on weight. This is the simple thing, will again put on weight. All right. How will this happen? Now we have this scope of the conclusion at GMAT Whiz, which tells you what kind of answer choice you're looking for. Any new information. So we're looking for any new information that shows that people who have lost weight will put on that weight again. So this is the target. This is the target of my answer. This is the scope of my answer choice. If an answer choice does not tell me the reason, it's out. Now let's expand this thought process here. They will burn a lot less, but not really given how much they're going to eat. So, what are the missing links? We know that at the new weight, the newly thin people burn fewer calories. Ask, do we know how much they eat? So, opposite of burn, eat. Do we know how much they eat? That's not given. That's not given. That's the missing link. So, what if they eat fewer calories too? We know that they lost weight through diet. Ask, do we know if they would do something else to keep the weight off? That's also not given. What if the newly thin people could find a way to avoid putting back that weight again? Then the conclusion would take place, right? So, the assumptions that I come up with when I spot these two gaps and ask these two questions is the newly thin people do not eat fewer calories. Okay. If we were told that they do not eat fewer but burn fewer, then they definitely would put on weight. Okay. And we are also assuming that they are not going to do anything else apart from that diet to avoid putting back the lost weight. Okay. So these are the two assumptions, and with this, we're going to move forward. By the way, just before we move forward, so guys, let me know if this is clear to all of you. I haven't done any pre-thinking, mind it. I haven't done any separate pre-thinking. All I've done is I read my paragraph in such a way that I have spotted certain missing pieces of information. I've asked questions around them, and I have come up with assumptions. So, Mohammed, which part do you want me to explain again? Please tell me, I'll explain again. Yes, Venkatesh, an assumption is always the necessary condition for the conclusion. So it is necessary that people who lose weight through dieting stop that diet, because if they keep on the diet, they may not gain the weight. It's only if they stop that diet, if they start eating more, that they will regain weight. Missing links. Okay, so Muhammad Jed Alam. Okay, I'll call you Jed. Forgive me if that is a lot too familiar, but I'll call you Jed. So Jed, we are told that they burn fewer calories, but the passage doesn't tell us how many calories they eat. So that is a missing point, a missing piece of information that we don't know. Similarly, the passage tells us that they lost weight through dieting, but the passage does not tell us whether they kept up the diet or not, whether they started exercising later on or not, nothing. So that is another missing piece of information. And we can look for these answers and see that, okay, if this missing piece of information was supplied, would it help us to reach the conclusion? Absolutely, yes. So, Jed, I hope that's clear. Do let me know. And guys, if it's clear to all of you, let me know a big yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Sunita, it's clear, so that I can move to the answer choice elimination. Take a moment. Let it sink in. Yes, Jaydeep. The answer to that is yes, because it's given to us relatively low metabolic rates. Relative to who? It has to be relative to the people who are not very overweight, which includes people who are normally at that level. The others, do let me know if you are clear with this understanding, with this stimulus, with this explanation. If you're clear, only then will I move forward with the answer choice elimination. Thank you, Venkatesh. The others, guys, because they would really like to know that you've understood it. So, Jaydeep, I am not going to be particular about any one type. I've just said that there is no other way. Okay, no other way that they are trying to avoid. Now, that way could be a lot of things, right? It could be trying out some medicine, some supplements, some exercise, some gym. They all can't be necessary conditions. They can just be clubbed under no other way. One way we know is diet. The other ways, there could be a number of ways. So I have just got Prakhar and Venkatesh saying that they have understood. Guys, if you have understood, a yes would be great, because that would make me feel that my explanation was clear. If it's not clear, I'll be glad to clarify this for you guys. You just need to ask questions. Vamsi, we don't know people who are at normal level can lose weight easier or not. Because all we know is people at the normal weight, they burn more calories, but how much do they eat, we don't know. Jaideep, no other way means nothing other than the diet. So the other way could include a lot of things. Yes, Kaveri. All right, guys. I don't have any questions so far. So I'm kind of assuming that most of you have understood. But just to clear things up, the passage says that very overweight people will put back weight again. Yes, Vamsi, because there is no further evidence, we can't proceed further with that thought process, that whether they lose weight easily or not. The point is, newly thin people will put back weight again. So my argument, my conclusion is concerned only with newly thin people. It is not concerned with normal people. Okay, it concerns people who were very overweight, people who have newly become very thin. Why will they put back all that weight again? So we are told that their metabolism is low. We are told that they burn fewer calories after losing weight. But we are not told how much they eat after losing weight. Do they eat the same as they were eating before losing weight? Or do they increase their intake? We don't know that. So if they are going to put back all the weight again, they must be increasing their intake. So that's an assumption. Again, we don't know that after losing all that weight, are they going to take up exercising, or are they going to take up some supplements, or are they going to take up gymming, or are they going to do something else to keep that weight off? We don't know that. But if we are saying they're going to put back all the weight again, we are assuming that they're not going to do anything else to keep off that weight. All right. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly now move to the answer choice elimination. The metabolisms of people, okay, who are usually not overweight. So this is not the category I'm talking about, right? Remember, the category I'm talking about is newly thin people will regain weight. This is talking about people who are not overweight. So I don't care about the metabolism of these people. Also, we are told that the metabolisms of these people vary more than the metabolisms of people who have been very overweight. Now, this we already know. We know that very overweight people have low metabolic rates, relatively low. So we already know that people who are not very overweight, their metabolism is usually higher than the metabolism of these people. So A doesn't give me any new information. It gives me all the wrong sorts of information. It's out of scope. It is not telling me why the newly thin people will regain weight. Why? Okay. Okay, let's read B. The amount of calories that a person, now a person means which person? Very overweight, normal, what? I don't know. This is a general idea, and I don't know whether I can apply it to these newly thin people or not. So, whatever B says, I don't know if that is going to hold true for the newly thin persons or not. And B says the amount of calories you burn is determined more by amount that is consumed. Okay. but we do not know how much is consumed, how much is eaten. So choice B also becomes out of scope for us. First thing, it talks about in general a person, so we don't know whether it applies to the very overweight people. Second is, it says how much you burn in a day will depend on how much you eat, but I don't even know how much you eat. So how do I link this to the conclusion? I can't these out. Researchers have not yet determined whether the metabolic rate, so we are talking about researchers have not been able to understand whether the MR of formerly very overweight individuals, which means newly thin individuals, can be accelerated. Whether it can be accelerated or not, this has not been found out. This does not have to be a necessary condition. So that's totally irrelevant to the conclusion. Because of the constancy of their metabolic rates, people who are at their usual weight, again, this is not the category of people we are talking about. We are talking about newly thin people. That means people who are not at their usual weight. They were very overweight, now they become a different weight. So we're not talking about the right category of people. So whether this category of people have more difficulty gaining weight, less difficulty gaining weight is not my concern. It's irrelevant. My concern was newly thin people regaining weight, not people at their usual weight losing or regaining weight. So D is out. E, relatively few means very few. So we are saying relatively few means very few. Very overweight people who have dieted down to a new weight. Okay, that means very few newly thin people. Okay, I'm simplifying the answer choice. Tend to continue to consume. Okay, continue to eat substantially fewer calories. So very few people continue to eat very less, okay, than normal people. It means, if I simplify this further, what it means is most newly thin people eat more than normal people. And if they eat more than the normal people, they will put back all that weight again. And therefore, E is the correct answer. So you need to simplify E, guys. Look how I segmented. Relatively few. Then, so relatively few means very few. Okay, this part. Very overweight people who have dieted down to a new weight. I broke here and I said newly thin people. Tend to continue to consume, continue to eat. Substantially fewer calories, very less than people whose normal weight is at that level, than normal people. So see how I'm simplifying the information to get right at it. So E is the correct answer. Those of you who marked E, guys, very good. So, Gulfisha, during your training, during your learning phase, you adopt these techniques to broaden the horizons of your mind so that you train your mind to look at these. See, I know this is not going to come easy, but you have to train your mind to do it. Today, if somebody tells me, okay, let me teach you how to drive a car. Let's say I don't know how to drive a car, and somebody tells me, I'm going to teach you how to drive a car. I'll say, oh my God, this is going to be very difficult. How will I look ahead? And I'll look ahead, and I'm going to look at I'm also going to hold the steering wheel, and I'm also going to kind of maneuver the gears, and I'm also going to put my to make sure that my the clutch and the brake and the accelerator and all of that I'm kind of handling properly at the same time. It's going to scare me. But during the training phase, it takes me time to coordinate all of that. However, once I learn how to drive a car, do I need to think of each of it separately? No. That is what you do. That is what you learn at GMAT Whiz. We teach you how to break down a sentence during our sentence correction phase. Thereafter, we teach you how to put together sentences to understand the meaning of a paragraph, and the same thing continues into RC. In fact, I'm going to once again share the two links, the free trial link, just in case you're interested, Gulfisha. Take a sneak peek at the free trial version to understand uh, how we really go about, showing things to you, how to do things. So it takes a bit to learn, a while to learn, but once you learn, it's like a piece of cake. And if you still want to talk to our strategy experts, I'm also going to share the link once again to book a free call with our strategy experts. All right. I'm going to share the link to that as well. Just give me a moment. So there's the link to schedule call with our strategy experts. Yes, Goldfisha, and it really works. And I'm telling you straight from the heart. I don't know how to drive. I'm too scared. I keep thinking, oh my God, so many things to coordinate. But I did try driving, and I realized that if I kept doing it day in and day out, I would become much more intuitive about it, much more smooth at it. All right. So trust me on that. It's not just about driving. Any skill that you're learning, when you're learning, it takes time. Swimming, driving, anything you take. Sure, Venkatesh, we keep bringing sessions on various areas in RC as well. Relatively few in simple English language means, Jaideep, very few. Okay? Very few. Almost none. Okay? Yes. All right, guys. So let me hide that in, yeah. Okay. Let's move to the last question of the session, guys. I hope this is as interesting as the others before we wrap up. Vamsi, my next session, I don't know, but we hold sessions almost every alternate Monday on GMAT Club. I will be holding a webinar on Saturday 20th, but that won't be on GMAT Club. That won't be on YouTube. We'll be holding it from Webinar Jam, but you might get the link if you write to support@gmatwiz.com. It's going to be on verb tenses. Jaideep, no other way simply excludes all other ways to lose, to keep off the weight. Okay? So, all other ways simply means that they are not going to do anything to keep off that weight. Okay, guys, I'm going to mute myself. Most welcome, Vamsi. All right, guys, you can start posting your answers. So, Gulfisha, you can write to support@gmatquiz.com. Support@gmatquiz.com and ask them to send you the link for the webinar on 20th August. Okay? It's a webinar on verb tenses, how to understand verb tenses through the timeline. Um, da, 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 da. Okay, let's look at the answers. So, you're welcome, Vishwanath. Himanshu says C. Soumya says C. Siddharth A. Jaideep A. Prakhar says C. I'll wait for a few more answers, guys. Seems to be between A and C, but we'll wait it out. Venkatesh says D. Okay. You'll be surprised, guys. And Tanveer says C. Okay. Sometimes, when we read a stimulus, we believe an information to be given when actually it is not given. All right. All right. So Kaveri says C. Vinayak says C as well. It seems to be between C, D, A. So A, D, C mostly. Of course, B is crap, but let's look at the other choices. Yes, can we have some more answers? Prakhar says A and C both seem right. Yes, Prakhar. That is always one issue for assumption questions. You sometimes have, on the assumption question, you have a strengthener and an assumption. That means what is common to a strengthener and an assumption is that both of them strengthen or support the conclusion. But an assumption has to be a necessary condition, whereas a strengthener can just be a sufficient condition. All right. So, okay. Vamsi says, I think A. All right, let's get started, guys, without wasting any more time. We are running short on time, anyways. Oh, here we go. A proposed change to federal income tax laws. Now, that sounds a mouthful. Simplify it. A proposed change to income tax laws, okay, or a proposed change to tax laws would eliminate deductions, okay. So this change is going to remove deductions, whatever they are. If you don't know, just say, okay, they're going to remove deductions from taxable income. So taxable income is the income on which I am going to pay taxes. And this change is going to take away some kind of deductions from the income on which I pay taxes. All right, which means my income is now not going to be, my taxable income is now not going to be less, it's going to be more. And deductions from taxable income for donations a taxpayer has made to charitable and educational institutions. Okay, wait a moment. So we are talking about a taxpayer makes some donations to these institutions, and for that, this taxpayer gets deductions from the taxable income. And this proposed change is going to take away that deduction. Oh, so here we have it. For a new proposal, changes to be made to those income tax laws, and post that, something is going to happen. Okay. If this change were adopted, wealthy individuals would no longer be permitted such deductions. Okay. So, wealthy individuals, if they make donations, they won't be able to get any deductions from their taxable income. So, the inference is that taxable income would be higher. All right. Therefore, now we have the conclusion coming up. Many means is equal to some. Remember that. Some and some means at least one and could be more. So therefore, at least one charitable and educational institution would have to reduce the services, and at least one would have to close their doors. All right, all right. So the conclusion is many of these institutions who were receiving the donation will have to reduce their services and probably would have to close their doors. My question is, why? Can you tell me why will they have to close the doors, guys? Why will they have to close the doors? Can you answer me? Yes, Prakhar, don't we all have? Why will they have to close their doors? Can you retrace your steps? Think, it's common sense. Why will a charitable institution have to close its doors? Come on, guys, just answer this question. Why will a charitable institution have to close its doors? I don't want you to tell me what is the answer option, but thank you, Bolaji. Very good, Jed. No money coming in or less money coming in. Thank you, Vamsi, because most of the money they have is coming from donations from wealthy people. We don't even need the most, Vamsi. What we need is that if these people will have to close down their doors because wealthy individuals are not going to get the donation. What is the connection? Wealthy individuals won't get donations, they will not donate the money, and therefore the money won't come in. Okay, so very good. Thank you very, very much. All of you. Great. See how simple it is if you just read the right way. So the scope of conclusion is any new information that shows why charitable institutions and educational institutions would have to reduce services. And one very simple answer would be maybe their funds are going to reduce. So here goes. Missing link is we do not know the reason wealthy individuals make donations, right? So the link between tax deduction and donations is missing. We know that they benefit through tax deduction. What if they continue to donate even without the tax benefit? In that case, even if they don't get the deduction, they will still donate and educational institutions will still get the money and not shut down. So the assumption we are making here is some of the wealthy people will not donate to charitable institutions if they do not get tax benefits. Okay, will do not donate. Let's put it this way: will not donate um, as much as they used to. At least they may stop donating altogether. They may just stop donating some amount, but at least they will stop. They change their donation amount. And if they change their donation amount, these educational institutions will get less money and then they would have to reduce services. And some of them might have to even close their doors. That's the assumption. And of course, we are assuming that wealthy individuals are not donating for any other reason. No benefit other than tax deductions will persuade at least some wealthy people to donate. So, two very simple assumptions are some of the wealthy people are not going to keep up the donation as before if they don't get deductions. And the other assumption is the only reason they are making this donation is because they're getting deductions. So, when the deduction stops, the donation stops. So, if I take you back to the previous paragraph, let me take you back here. Remember, I asked this question why? So, why are they going to reduce services? Because deductions will stop. So, what is the gap between deductions will stop and services will stop? It means reduced funds. Reduced funds means wealthy individual not donating as much as they used to. So it's very simple to spot the missing links, guys. Okay, let me move to the answer choice. Now, money contributed by individuals. Okay, which individuals? Who make their donations because of provisions in the federal tax laws. Now, this piece tells me this, from this I can infer they won't donate without deductions. Okay, because they are donating because of the provisions. So if the provisions change, they are not going to donate. So such individuals provides the only source of funding. Ask yourself, do they have to be the only source for them to close down? Do they have to be the only source, guys? Say for example, let me see. Okay. Say for example, let's say I have A, B, C, AB charity, and AB charity is getting money from wealthy individuals. They are also getting money from others. Okay. So if wealthy individuals stop donating, funds will still reduce, right? Right? So they will still reduce the services even if wealthy individuals are not the only donors. So A is not a necessary condition, and therefore it may strengthen your conclusion, but it is not the assumption. Please let me know if this is clear. Why A is incorrect. Jaideep, lesser money has to be the assumption. No money doesn't have to be the assumption. Absolutely, Vamsi. Chain reaction. Yes, Nitin, I agree with you. And that is why you need to read carefully so that you are not tricked. Yes, Harshal, we can assume that wealthy people will reduce donating. We can't assume they will stop altogether. They will definitely reduce donating because reduction has to happen for the reduction in the services. So, Vamsi, if the wealthy people are the only source, it definitely supports the conclusion. But even if the wealthy people are not the only source, then also my conclusion will still happen if the wealthy people donate less. Many simply means some. I'm not saying all charities are going to close the doors. So, if all charities are not going to close the doors, I don't need all the wealthy individuals to reduce their donations. Okay. So, minimum requirement, necessary requirement is reduction in donation, not complete stoppage. Complete stoppage is as good. It definitely supports the conclusion, but it is not a necessary one. So, A is not the answer, guys. All right. Yes, Soumya, you're right. You should be cautious. In fact, let me put it this way, Soumya. You should read every choice, every word on that choice. Don't generalize anything. But yes, extreme words do make you a little more cautious. So, Soumya, no, who is asking this question? Kushal. So, Kushal, imagine you are an institution, okay? And you are receiving money from two sources. One source dries up. You would still have to reduce your services, right? And if you are very dependent on that source, you may even have to close the door. So, we are not saying all institutions will close doors and all institutions will reduce services. We are saying some will reduce services, some will close doors. All right, Kushal. So, Kushal, Soumya, Vamsi, Harshal, Jaideep, I hope all of you, Gulfisha, you have understood. Nitin. All right, great. Second source is there, but my fund is still reducing, right? I mean, earlier I was getting $20,000. Now I'm getting $10,000. So with $20,000, I could do a lot more. With 10,000, I can still do, but I would need to still reduce it. Okay, guys, let's move to. So A is definitely not the answer. It's not a necessary condition. It could work as a strengthener, but not as an assumption. Okay, B, the primary reason for not adopting. Now we are talking about what is going to happen after you adopt the change. So this is actually totally off. This doesn't have to be the primary reason. Okay, so this is totally out of scope. I'm not going to delve deeper into it. without incentives offered by federal income tax laws. So we are saying, which incentives are we talking about? Probably these deductions. So in the absence of deductions, at least some wealthy individuals would not donate as much money. So if they would not donate as much money, then clearly there will be a reduction in the funds. If there will be a reduction in the funds, there will be a reduction in the services. Yes, I'm going to keep this. Okay, because at least some means at least one, and here also I had at least one. So C is perfectly in line with my thinking. Necessary requirement for some institutions to shut down should be some money reducing. Okay, great. Let's look at D. D says wealthy individuals are the only individuals. Again, remember, they don't have to be the only individuals. And choice D does not even tell us whether they are going to stop donating or not. Okay, so this is out. Income tax law should be changed to make donations charitable. I mean, is this necessary for the conclusion to be true? It has got nothing to do with educational institutions having to reduce services. So E is also out of scope, and therefore C is the only answer. Yes, Vamsi, answer A. Even to a certain extent, D is a trap answer. Be careful, guys, on assumption questions. Quite often, not always, quite often you will be faced with two options which both look as if they are supporting the conclusion. So always shortlist those answers. Okay, well, good, well done, Gulfisha. Happy to see you happy. So as I was saying, that on an assumption question, if you find that two choices support your conclusion, keep them, hold them, and then decide which one of them is merely supporting and which one of them is a necessary condition. Okay, guys. So yes, Vamsi, on this question, most people get stuck between A and C. You could try the negation, but I would say even more than the negation, try simple technique like, okay, what if I have two sources? But then if one source dries up, the funds would anyways dry up. So you can think on your feet. All right. So if you, that's, yeah, you can, I'm just going to share the links once more. And if you've got any other queries that guys you want to ask me about your prep, you can go ahead. So Jaideep, let me explain to you. If you have paper in front of you, just write down that accord needed for embargo, accord not needed for blockade. Because blockade is not equal to embargo. Blockade is just necessary for embargo. All right, Jaideep. You're welcome, Gulfisha. I am glad it helped. Guys, I'm glad it helped you, and I hope the others also found it helpful as well, guys. So I'm going to sign off, but before that, guys, a quick link for all of you, just in case you'd like to talk to our experts for something, or if you want to take a sneak peek at the trial version of the course. Let me just quickly post that there. There in front of you on the screens is the link to the free trial version of the course. Do go through some of the portions and you'll see what suits your needs or how different it is, how it teaches you all the things that we've discussed today in the session, number one. And number two, let me also post the link where you can connect with our strategy experts in case you're stuck in your prep. So let me just post that. Yeah, there's the link to book the free call. Yes, Vamsi, well said. Good night to all of you guys. And if you're just beginning your day, a good day to you. Have a nice day. I'm glad you liked the explanations, Venkatesh. Yes, Jaideep. Embargo and blockade are not the same thing. Blockade is required for the embargo. All right, that's it. So guys, take care, have fun learning. Remember, learning takes time. Learning a skill takes time. So while learning, don't think of time. While learning, think of all the strategies, all the various nuances, and think about time once you are through the learning phase. So see you guys around again sometime very, very soon. Signing off from GMAT Whiz, guys. Take care. Yes, Shashikant, you have a target of 2 months, ample time. I can tell you, one of my students, Rishabh Iyer, you can find his debrief on YouTube. He was able to move from a verbal 32 to a verbal 44 in just 26 days. Okay, from a verbal 32 to a verbal 24. Sorry, 44 in just 26 days. All right, guys. Bye bye, all of you. And thank you for being such a nice audience. I'm going to sign off now. Take care.